And I think because we already got the group that support the felons, but the people that are on the fence and pass judgment and say that we had an option, they got to understand, like, our stories were given to us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we do with the stories, that's on us.
Right.
The end of the story, the chapter, turn the page and write a new chapter, that's on us.
But
But a
how
lot
it
of us, the
start-
introduction to our life,
Exactly.
man, a lot of us begin in the mud.
3, 2, 1, go!
Bingo! That's right. Fellas Ain't Failure podcast is back in the building. This your boy, Coach Chuck, the podcast pastor. I got C-Mouse, D-Mouse, Coach Smurf in the building. And today, we running our Felon X interviews. That's right, where we bring one of our productive felons, somebody who been in the system. They've come out of the system, and they start pursuing purpose for their life. So we got a special guest today, and I'm going to introduce him in a minute. But we want to thank y'all for tuning in, man. Those who've been rocking with us, been following us, been sharing our content. And we'll let y'all know, man, we going to 2-day-a-week episodes. We're going to drop Fridays. But if you're interested in the story of the felons, those are going to drop every Tuesday. So our Felon X interviews are going to drop every Tuesday starting in July. So make sure you share, like, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you'll know when we dropping. But right now, with no further delay, we got my boy, Devin, Mr. Boykins in the building.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Welcome.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Great to have you. Good to have you, man.
Appreciate
How
you.
you doing, man, on this Thursday night, man? We in here late night.
Well, it's late Thursday
Burning the
night.
candle on both ends.
You
Both
hear me?
ends.
Both
Right.
ends.
Right. I'm feeling good, man. I appreciate y'all for letting me be here, man.
Yes,
Sure,
sir. We
definitely,
appreciate it.
definitely.
If anybody, and some of the other episodes, they'll catch that you hopped in on one of our episodes a couple weeks ago, so you definitely ain't a new face. You might be new to some, but we feel like you family, man, and we've been locked in. But, man, we want to get down to business, man, because my goal with the Felon X interviews is that I need for people who are not felons to understand, like, the human side of us, because for some reason, dog, the way, and it's because it started way back at Jim Crow, but it's because the picture that society and the narrative that society
Put on them.
creates for us, and the story that they tell about us almost make us look like we monsters and all this kind of stuff there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that people understand that we are just like them, and like the shirt say, the only difference is we got caught.
You did.
And they didn't.
That's
You
it.
know what I'm saying? So,
That's right.
Real quick, man, I want you to introduce yourself. Maybe say something about yourself, and we're going to get into some information. We're going to talk about this road to prison, some time in prison, and we're going to talk about what life looked like for Mr. Boykins on this part one in this interview. So anything you want to just break out,
Okay.
let them know, father, this, that. Let the people know who you are, bro.
Okay, well, I just want to introduce myself once again. My name is Devin Boykins. I'm the sole provider of Stay Focused Empowerment. This program is for people like me that done came out of incarceration to give back to the people like you that's watching or just across the World Wide Web. It's something big. This is something big. I done experienced incarceration numerous times. I think I'm on I'm like a C letter.
Woo. Yes, sir.
A C letter, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think my
Both times, baby. For
That's
you,
right.
for those of you who don't know, times.
My first bid was 18 months. Then I turned around and did a 4.5-year bid. Then I turned around and did a 16-month, and then I just got done doing an 18-month bid.
That's what's up.
And I was close to going back to prison. I was close to going back to prison until, I met my attorney, and then everything else just changed. But I think the biggest thing is that I had to change my way of me thinking.
Okay.
I had to change my choices in life, and then that's when the whole picture changed. Because most of the time, they'll just send me to prison. But this time, it was something special. So now, after, kind of fast forward a little bit, I started changing the way I think, and then my path changed. I went to going to school. I graduated, got my GED, and then from there,
Congratulations.
I took advantage of, just getting involved. I started doing community service. I started just going to church and just the whole 9 yards. And then everything, like I say, everything just changed.
Before we get to the change, I don't want to cut you off.
All right.
At what age did you start that path of, I call it destruction?
I want to say 9. That was my
Talk about it.
That was my first incarceration. I
Tell
was
us about
a juvenile. I mean, I was young. Me and my friends out there breaking in the cars,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it was just. I think it was more like a fun thing. I think when I first felt my first pop, it was like, oh, it's
Pop
called.
that column, the
That's
steering
right.
column.
That's right. It's open. You know what I mean? And now I'm snooping. And it started from there. I mean, I found money. I found devices. I found all this type of stuff. And then next thing you know, it started from there.
Thinking about my personal experiences, was your childhood at a place where you had to do that, or you just decided to do it? Like with me, anything that I did in the streets, it wasn't warranted. I didn't have to. I didn't want for nothing, didn't need for nothing. It was just a part of me that felt like I had to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't understand that. They look at a lot of people and feel like, oh, because there's some people that don't have a choice.
Right.
So we always want to choose and make and feel like, oh, they could have did this, they could have did that, but they don't know your story. So was your upbringing to the point to where you had to do those things, or you just did it just cause?
I want to say I think at age 9 I understood what poverty meant.
Okay.
I did, and opening the refrigerator ain't too much going on in here.
Okay. See, so
So it's just like I wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, I'm watching my friends and them family give them what they desired and stuff like that, and here it is. I'm looking at me like,
and what mine's that?
Yeah.
Right.
And see, even what's so deep about that, bro, and I'm glad you brought that up. I like that. It's that it's important that our fellas understand, like, and people got to understand, like, I never faulted nobody for being a hustler, for going after life the way they went after, because I know cats, and I'm like Smurf. Like, I came out of, I ain't gonna lie, I came out of good family. I mean,
have to.
every family have its issues. But I ended up in the streets because of the glitz and the glamour of it. Right. I like the idea of the guys with the cars, the clothes, the females doing stuff in their own time, smoking big reefer. You know what I'm saying? So I was amazed by that. But there are cats kind of like your situation you just said. I know cats, we was in elementary, they was pissy. You know what I'm saying? They ran the streets all the time. Their mom was on drugs. So there's no way I could ever judge him and say, man, you had a choice. Because, and some of our fellas need to understand that some of the decisions we made, we didn't have a choice.
You have a choice too.
Because how the deck was stacked up against some of us so bad that if your mama on crack, your daddy ain't round, you open the refrigerator, ain't nothing in it, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
And you got people, younger siblings.
Right. And people got to understand, a lot of us, we come into crime and we come into convictions and stuff like that because we started out behind the gun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, some people start off with a head start. Some people start off with an advantage. Some of us start off disadvantaged in life as little kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And as a felon, especially if that was your story, like, you got to let that go. You know what I'm saying? You can't let that dictate who you become as you did. You know what I'm saying? But for a while, it plagued your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want to know this.
Revisits.
I want to know this because, like, you are a powerful story because even though you and I are felons, you represent that group that didn't have a choice. And I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah.
Oh, life is full of choices.
Yes.
But when you 8 years old and
Sound
ain't nothing
good.
to eat in the house and mama need help, you ain't got no choice. When all your friends got a bicycle, all your friends got 50 cents to go to the cannon later, and you got to hope somebody share with you, you gonna steal something.
All your friends shoes
You know
fit.
what I'm saying?
That's
Go ahead.
real.
What you got, dog? We just talking about it.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. I can reflect on the time where the opportunity presented itself and I turned it down. I went to school at Lakewood, and coach pulled up on me. He said, hey. He said, what's up? He looking me up and down. He said, oh, you want to play football? Now, this one of my biggest dreams at the time.
Yeah.
And I say, coach, I can't. I'm the man of the house.
Gotta get it out the mud. Yeah.
In high school.
In high school. I say, man, we got, and I was like, man, my grades ain't right. He said, I'll help you get them up. I'm like, man, it sound good.
Yeah.
But then in the back of my mind, I think, like, I got to make sure that the house taken care of before I can even focus on anything.
Help me with this grades. You gonna help with some groceries?
That's right.
Yeah,
you know what I
feel
mean?
you.
So, it's...
And that's our story.
Yeah.
And that's what they got to get. Oh, I'm looking at you.
That's a lot
That's
of
what they
everybody's
got
story.
to get, bro. That's our story. And I think if because we already got the group that support the felons, but the people that are on the fence and pass judgment and say that we had an option, they got to understand, like, our stories were giving to us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we do with the stories, that's on us.
Right.
The end of the story, the chapter, turn the page and write a new chapter, that's on us. But a
how
lot
it
of us, the
start-
introduction to our life,
Exactly.
man, a lot of us begin in the mud.
I
You know
was
what I'm saying?
I was sitting. I think I was sitting in prison, and I questioned myself. I used to question myself, like, man, why am I going through certain episodes like this here? And then I had to realize that, man, without a test, it's a testimony. Without a test, there's no testimony.
Correct.
So I'm like, I say, man, I gotta be somebody special. Something got to give from the negative, because the negative always turns into a
You're
positive.
talking now, yes, sir.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be patient with the episode of my life and continue on this journey, no matter what it looked like. No matter what it looked like. No matter what it looked like, man. I sat there, I said, you know what? Talking to my mom on that phone, on that prison phone, I say, Mom, I say, don't worry about me. I say, because God got me. I said, don't worry about it. She couldn't stomach that.
yeah.
And then I ain't called for weeks, sometimes months.
Yeah.
She blowing me up on the tablet. You all right in there? You all right in there? I'm just sitting back, man, just allowing whatever it is to take its course. And yeah, I am today, like, I'm at the end of my class where I'm finna get ready to graduate again for my master barber's license.
Yes, sir.
I got two.
And I want to shout out, I seen a haircut you posted, like he might have been a Mexican cat or something.
Yeah.
I seen your tight fade, okay.
And it's
I
like,
said, look at it.
I got two choices now. I got SPC or I got USF.
Yes, sir.
And, man, look here, they ain't gonna know what hit them when I step in the building, because I mean business. This is personal. I'm talking about, this is so personal to the point that ain't no more looking back.
You see that sign right there? What that sign say behind you?
I say, it gotta mean something to you.
That's when it's personal.
That's when it's personal.
That's when it means something to you.
Right.
That's when you go out there like a dog.
Yeah, and you know what? I once heard, man, on the road to success, it's gonna be a dog fight, but
Yes, sir.
you gotta be that bigger dog.
Yes, sir.
You have to be the bigger dog. And I remember just telling my daughter, man, like, long as you in school, I'm gonna stay in school.
What's up?
That's powerful.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what's up.
I got another question for you. As much as I done, I've been blessed to stay free. Like, truly blessed to stay free.
That's
We ain't gonna talk about it, but from a person, from my standpoint, people that don't know, your first bid, when the judge told you, okay, boy, because you got this amount of time, you had to kiss your family goodbye. You went to wherever they sent you off to, and you heard them prison doors close behind you. As a man, young man, because obviously your first bid, you were at least a teen.
Mhm.
How did you grasp that very first night? Like, movies depict one thing, but again, that's a movie.
Right.
First night.
Coming from a
Right.
young man's standpoint, that was out here doing whatever he wanted to do, but whatever he had been doing, caught up with him,
Right.
and now you in this, what is 8x8? What about
I
you?
don't know.
Whatever the cell
I
is,
can't
Right.
even tell you.
when you hear that iron door close behind you,
Mm.
and they say lights out, like, your mental. How
Right.
did that work?
Boy, look here. That's
Yeah,
a good question.
That's what I want to hear.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
But
Tell
this is gonna be the hardest response that I can ever give to a person in life. It didn't faze me.
That's what's up.
Because you know why?
That's a blessing.
I was a product to my environment, and that was the quote unquote, that was the thing. You had to go once you
Certified
when you go to prison. Oh,
it made you gave you street cred.
That's right. But guess
Man.
what?
But those out here listening, that don't mean nothing. Trust me.
And you know what? Guess what? I'm gonna look dead in this camera about this one. That's bullshit.
You hear me? Don't mean nothing.
You know what I mean? Because
Man,
That-
that street cred, they ain't gonna see. They ain't gonna put no money on your books. They ain't gonna come see about you.
no,
Let that go, man.
Nah, you know
That's
what I mean?
the realest
Because
thing I've ever heard about
it
that.
was traumatic issues
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that
Trauma.
that's right.
Trauma.
And being a product of your environment, you start to adapt to the things around you. You know what I mean? Anybody tell me saying, "Oh, you out here in these streets, this what come with it, this, that, and the third. I say, dang, ain't nobody tell me that prison would come with this here, but lost without guidance, I kept getting out.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody grabbed me by the hand and say, hey, man, let me
change
show you,
them, yeah.
change my perspective.
Mhm.
It took for me to have to sit down and listen to some of the intellectual people that were sitting in the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, some days it'll go in one end out the other, but somebody grasp at me, and I try a little bit, but then I fail.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, bump that. I'm gonna do this over here. I know it's easy over here to work over here, and that's bad.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with that, and I think a lot of people don't understand, like we push therapy, but some therapy works. For some people, they need a more different approach. But like what you talking about, what we all experience in our life it was a deep rooted trauma.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when somebody do drop some good advice, you hear it. You know what I'm saying? But it can't really take root in your life because there are already roots taking up the space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like even the work which we'll talk about, I don't know if it's this interview or next interview, but the work that you're doing with your nonprofit, that type of work is designed to uproot those traumatic roots.
Right.
So those positive, progressive roots can take. Because it's like if you plant a weed and a tomato plant, that weed is gonna choke out those roots.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just how it's gonna be.
Definitely gonna do that.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, and people, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I love these type of interviews. Like they don't understand us. They saying, why you just ain't change your life? You know, you supposed to be rehabilitated in prison.
What opportunity did I have?
There's nothing. I need something. I need somebody.
Somebody.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody.
To lock in on
Somebody's.
me and become a gardener and remove these traumatic roots out my life. And that's where we bring one part in to God, because some stuff is generational.
Right.
Some stuff is spiritual. So that's where we lean for God. But there's a work that humans that we play in each other's life where we assist with removing the roots of trauma and allowing the positive progressive roots to take place in our life. And so our felons have to understand, like, it's not your fault. It was never your fault that you, like you say, it wasn't your fault when you opened that refrigerator.
It wasn't
That
nothing.
wasn't
Not
your
9
fault.
years old.
It wasn't your fault that you had to get it how you live to try to provide for the house. It wasn't your fault that you couldn't play high school football, possibly go to college, because you had to make sure the house was straight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You did
and
the
it ain't
man's
your
job.
fault. It ain't your fault that there are generational curses and roots that have been in your bloodline
Before you was
that
even
you
born.
inherited that you didn't have a decision about. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
So
let's go. I struck a chord.
it was like this. The word once said that it's a time and an hour where a man shall resurrect from the dead.
Let's go.
And the dead shall go to the resurrect. So I'm like, man, when it clicked for me, I knew I was reborn again.
Okay.
Say that one more time, because I don't really think they understood what you just said. Like, seriously.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so for everybody out there, it's a time and an hour where a man's supposed to resurrect from the dead, and the dead shall resurrect. So
you don't physically have to die, y'all.
Yeah, it's you have to be reborn again. And then you gotta really like sit with yourself and deal with your traumatic issues. You really have to pay a close attention to yourself, because one thing I do know, and I stand on it, is the word. The word tell us, study thyself. Study thyself.
Yeah. You gotta commit to that.
That's right. And I gotta wait. It's just like the times where you question yourself, like, man, why I did that?
Yeah.
But you gotta learn from that. And that's what I took all the time in. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna bite down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bite down. And this, I'm here now. I can sit back. I can voice my opinion. I can check myself before I wreck myself.
That's right.
A lot of people used to say, man, boy, you better start listening. He said, it's crazy that you'll listen to what the judge got to say, but you won't listen to nobody else out here.
Yeah.
So now I got my ears open. I listen to what fuels me, what builds me up. And here on the day, I represent this nonprofit. Stay focused empowerment.
1 second before we jump into that, because I want to end with that, because it's gonna take it to our next interview.
Okay.
But I want to move, because I'm gonna take it that your last encounter with incarceration was where everything turned around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, not really because I had.
Well, talk about the point where it turned around for you.
Okay, so I got out November 22nd of 2022. Excuse
Okay.
me, November the 1st, 2022.
Almost 3 years ago. Okay.
And I went back in front of the judge January on some possession charges
Of this year?
of 2023.
23.
Yeah.
I was out 3 months.
3 months? Yeah. You ready to go back, huh?
No, sir. It's like it clicked. It's like, oh man, I'm tripping. And then it was just like that one time I was walking across the street from the Walgreens back to my room. And I was just praying, man, just talking to the man upstairs, like, man, I'm tired of going through the fire. I said, I'd rather go through the water and learn my lesson.
Yes, sir.
And he held me to that commitment.
Unpack that so for people who may be wondering what it is to go through the water. We understand the fire,
Right.
but when you say that in your best words,
Right.
what did that mean to you to go through the water?
Well, be out here amongst the people.
Okay,
And learn my lessons instead of having it close up.
gotcha.
The water to me is like, okay, this dude or this woman might come out of nowhere, and then how do I handle these situations? Is my emotions in check? Is my thought process in check? My behavior, I gotta put myself in those categories so I can be able to know, okay, I'm worthy of standing out here.
Okay,
I'm worthy to hold my crown.
emotional intelligence.
That's
gotcha.
right.
Okay, well now moving into that, so I want you, because we run out of time. I want you to briefly, I want you to talk about stay focused and power. I want you to talk about how did that birth? Where did
How
that
that
come
resonate?
from?
Where did
But
that come from?
but listen, I don't want you to go into
Don't
no
dive all the
curriculum
way
or nothing.
in.
Right.
And that's gonna be part 2 of your interview.
Okay.
But just talk about where did it come from?
Right.
Just give us the origin, the birth of it.
Okay.
And then I want you to say something to the felons as we head out. The rest of it is on you.
Yeah.
And we're going to cut that, and they're going to have to come back to part 2 to hear about what your nonprofit
Okay.
is
Really
focused
stand
on.
for me,
Well,
yes, sir.
Take as much time as you want. Close out with your felons, and it's on you.
Right. So where it came from is just like, when I met my attorney, he always used to use this phrase called stay focused.
Okay.
I had moments where, I wanted to give up. I didn't want to continue this. I just wanted to go to prison and get my time over it. I'm tired of dealing with the state. He was just like, no, man. He say, stay focused. Stay focused. You know what I mean? And I ain't understand it until I started getting to my faith and started looking at the bigger picture upstairs and staying focused on that. Community service, NA meetings, changing around the picture, get me a job, going back to school. He say, stay focused. Stay focused. And then we had this conversation about 3.5 weeks ago, maybe a month. And it was based on an individual. And I was just like, man, tell him to come over here. Well, I mean, if you're going to get him out and you're going to get him out on bond, I say, I help him get a job. I help him get back in school and stuff. And he's like, you'll do that? And then we went to talking about the nonprofit. And he said, man, you should have started that up, man. If that's really, really what you want to do, start it up. And that's how it came about. Stay focused empowerment.
All right, say something to your fellas.
For everybody that feel like that it can't be done, it can. You just got to stay focused.
Yes, sir.
Powerful.
Listen, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. That's part 1. I'm telling you, we just wanted Devin to get Mr. Boykins to give you a piece of his story. Next time, we're going to dive into this nonprofit so y'all can see what it is he offers. And our felons, listen, if you know a fella, tell a fella. Subscribe, share, like, hit the notifications. Man, we taking our own, us fellas, and we're reaching out to our own, man. We got to pull each other up. We got to police each other. We got to support each other. And that's the tribe that we building here. Fellas Ain't Failure podcast. We out of here. We love y'all. Felon X. We'll see you on the next one.
Check the merch, baby.
Check the merch, baby.
Whoa, yo.